in person. Okay. So, and it is 1 o'clock. So welcome everyone. For those of you that don't know, I'm Jennifer McDaniel. I'm your public records manager here at WDVA. I do see that we have a few outside of our agency guests. Again, I'm the public records manager here at WDVA, and I work here in our central office building. So today we are lucky enough to have Monica Wales from Coaching Freedom. She will be walking us through baby steps to financial freedom. And to ensure that Monica has as much time as possible, since these are short 15-minute sessions, we will just get right to it. And Monica, take it away.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jennifer. Everybody can hear me okay? Had a little technical difficulty earlier. So awesome. Thanks for being here today. I do welcome you to turn on your cameras. I know not everybody's in a position to do that, but I am a conversational kind of speaker. So if you're willing to do that, that's awesome. Thank you. A little bit about myself. I spent 16 years in healthcare, and my husband and I own a laundry and dry cleaning business. We worked ourselves out of $147,000 of consumer debt, and which just is a lot. It feels like a lot. It feels very heavy for me to even say that. But we were really in a financial mess, and we worked really hard to change the trajectory of our lives and paid all of that off. And we were really tired of the rat race. I don't know if any of you can relate to that. I don't know if any of you can relate to this idea of getting paid every 2 weeks or maybe once a month. And then at the end of the month, you're like, man, I make decent money. I worked really hard for my money, and yet I don't know where it all went. And that's where my husband and I were. We were working really hard and not really understanding where our money went. So today I'm going to share with you the baby steps that we took to allow me to leave my 16-year career in healthcare in the middle of the pandemic to become a financial coach and help other people do the same. And just to be clear, I do not sell investments. I do not consolidate any debt. It's all about helping people change the habits that we have that have gotten us to where we are. And so maybe you have some really great habits, or maybe you have some habits that you want to evolve. So I'll just back up for a minute. I also want to say thank you for everything that you do for our country and for our state. And it's just really an honor to be with you all today. So before we get to the baby steps, I have to lay a little bit of a foundation, right? Your house built on a foundation. So the foundation for the baby steps is, any guesses? You guys can participate in the chat if you want, except Grace. Grace can't. Is it Tina? Tina's looking for the chat. So the foundation for the baby steps is the budget. And you probably all deal with budgets in your work. And I don't know about you, but when I hear the word budget, I just kind of cringe. It makes me feel like I'm going to go on a diet. And clearly that's not my thing. But a budget is rather a tool to use to give you permission to spend, right? So I love that perspective that we can budget. Oh, budget diet. Yeah, I love it. But we can actually tell our money where we want it to go. And that can include vacation. That can include some retirement. That can include some pocket money. Does anybody have pocket money? Like just money that you get to spend, no questions asked. My favorite line item in the budget. Yes. Oh, I'm with you, Grace. Totally. Okay. So the budget is, what we recommend is that we do a zero-based budget. And this is probably maybe not new to you because you do this in work, right? A lot of people do this in work. But basically you start with your take-home pay, right? So let's, for round numbers, say you bring home $2,000. That's your take home pay. And then you list out all your expenses, right? And what you want to do is you want to have a zero. You want to say, okay, I brought home $2,000 and I expect to spend $2,000. And I use the word spend, not literally, but I want you to tell every dollar where to go before you wonder where it went at the end of the month, right? So if that's $20 for pocket money, if that's $50 for coffee, I don't care. It doesn't matter as long as you have to do that, right? So whatever you allocated your money to do for you that month, we want your take home pay minus what you've allocated to equal zero. We want you to put every single dollar to work, whatever that looks like for you and your family. So setting the budget is the first step of the foundation. But how many of you, I don't know about you, I have made budgets and then just, it's not a set it and forget it kind of a thing, unfortunately. Darn it. It's kind of like a budget, or kind of like a diet, in that sometimes we track what we eat, right? We were looking at calories and things like that and nutritional values. It's kind of like that. Like, we have to track our expenses. We have to understand where our money is going. And so creating a budget is step like A, and then really tracking it throughout the month and kind of reconciling it at the end of the month. Like, okay, what did I under budget for? What do I need to think about for next month? That is the biggest, if you take nothing away from this 15 minutes together budget, okay? And I have a really easy tool to help you do that. If you'd like, we can connect afterwards and I can get that to you. So budget aside, my husband and I have done budgets for 7 years. It's never perfect. I'm always reconciling, we'll say. So just give yourself a little bit of grace if budgeting in your household is a new thing. And I highly recommend, if you're married or have a partner that you live with, that you work together in that. So let's get to the baby steps. Okay, that's the foundation. Okay, so first baby step is to have a starter emergency fund. And let me back up and just say there's 7 baby steps. The first 3 are done in order, one at a time, and on purpose. Okay. So the first baby step is to have a starter emergency fund. If you're single or widowed, you get $500. That's your starter emergency fund. If you're married or have a partner living with you, your starter emergency fund is $1,000. And that may seem very low given the circumstances that we have all been through in the last 3 years. But the idea of that is that we want you to pay off, the second baby step is to pay off all of your consumer debt, including student loans and all of those things. So we want to put every other dollar towards that debt and take care of that next. I'm going to pause for just a minute. What questions do you have so far? Okay, nothing? All right. So baby step number 2, oh yeah, permission to spend, I love that. Baby step number 2 is to pay off all non-mortgage debt. So that's any personal loans, any car loans, any student loans. And this does typically take from 4 months to 2 years, depending on your debt load, okay? This is one of the longest baby steps in terms of duration of time. It just depends on how much debt that you have and how intentional you are. I was trained by Dave Ramsey, and he is like, basically eat beans and rice. And my husband and I never ate beans and rice. We also did not work with a financial coach. So I think we could have paid off that money a lot faster, that debt a lot faster. I don't ask any of my clients to eat beans and rice, just saying. But it is all in how intentional you are, right? Like, you really want to take your children on this epic trip to Disneyland or to Europe or whatever. And everybody wants to do that, right? Everybody wants to do something amazing for their family or for themselves. And that there is nothing wrong with that at all. And I really want you to be in a space where you can come back from that and be like, that was such an awesome trip. And I have no regrets on the amount of money that we spent because we budgeted for it. And I don't have it lingering over here, like I've got to pay for it. Okay, so we're going to use the debt snowball method to pay off the debt. And what that means is you're listing your debts from smallest to largest based on their balance, not based on the interest rate. Mathematically, it doesn't really matter. You pay it off about the same amount of time if you were to list it by interest rate. But here's what happens. Once you pay off the smallest debt, then you apply those payments to the next debt, and you start to build momentum because you're starting to see progress. And it is awesome. My husband and I had a paper chain link. Do you remember making those in like elementary school? And we had each link represented $1,000. So every time we cut out $1,000 of debt, we got to cut the chain. And we put it in our living room. It was a source of remembering and pain a little bit. And people were asking us, like, what does this chain represent? So we got to share our story and the decisions that we had made that led to that. Okay. All right, baby step 3, once you paid off all your non-mortgage debt, you're going to fully fund your emergency fund 3 to 6 months worth, right? And again, that may seem like not enough given our past 3 years. But at this point, you can adjust that based on your experience and what your needs are. This is 3 to 6 months of expenses, not income. Okay, what are your expenses? Which they might be a lot lower if you've paid off all your debt. Okay, we've done 1, 2, 3, all in a row. I'm gonna cruise through the last 4. So number 4 is setting aside 15% for retirement. And I know, I believe that when you work for the government, you're like required, right? There's a lot of, there's retirement that's already, like it's mandatory, right? They take that out of your pay already. So if they're taking out, if you've got, you just want to make sure you're putting aside 15%. That's baby step 4. So baby steps 4 through 7 can be done all together. So set aside 15% for retirement. You can start saving for college for you or a child or a grandchild. Baby step 6 is to pay off your mortgage early. Is there anyone in here that has paid off their mortgage early? Anybody? Okay. It's such a natural thing, right? We just expect that everybody's got a mortgage and most people have student loans. So totally get it. And baby step 7 is my favorite. It's building wealth and being able to give. So at this point, your choices and degree of ultimate freedom are really unlimited. You get to choose how you show up professionally and personally. So that's the very, very big overview of baby steps 1 through 7. They are based on Dave Ramsey's principles. This has been like a 30-year in the process making. He's helped millions of families. I'm just going to pause right here and, we paid ours off in 7 years, Marlene. Yes, awesome. That is so cool. Thank you for sharing. Ooh, if you want to tell us how you did that, Marlene, if you want to either come online or like put in the chat, I'd love to hear your story or see the story. So I talked a little bit about what I do as a financial coach versus a financial advisor. I don't sell investments. I don't consolidate debt. I'm an advocate for just taking responsibility for what we've got and putting our money to good use and changing a little bit of maybe a few of our habits and maybe beliefs around money. My colleague Jen Wester was talking about limiting beliefs earlier. So yeah, I welcome any questions at this point. That's my story. That's what I have to share with you today.
Does anyone have a question for Monica?
Awesome. Thanks for the feedback, Marissa. Appreciate it. All right, we got a story here, Marlene. My hubby and I decided we didn't want to rob Peter to pay Paul anymore. So we just made a decision to make it our top priority. That is so cool. I love that. I love that so much. I'll put my email address in the chat here if you'd like to reach out. And I'd love to do that. I do offer complimentary coaching sessions, and I'm happy to meet with y'all and talk more about this or your personal story. I just want you all to know that it is possible. The rat race doesn't have to be your life forever. So thank you so much for your time today.
Monica, thank you so much. I especially like the part about giving permission to spend. That way you decide where each and every dollar goes, which is kind of about, taking back some control, because debt can be sometimes overwhelming. So you kind of lose that control. So that's a good way to feel like you're taking that back. And so again, thank you very much, Monica. Appreciate you so much being here. And just for anyone else that's interested, the next session at 1:20, I believe, is Balance Your Life to Increase Your Wellness. So we invite you to participate in that. Oh, I lied. It's 1:40. I'm such a fibber. That's what happens.
It's Jennifer.
So I'm so sorry. All right. So again, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Have a great day.